Brought to you by paid sponsorship from the upcoming Fool's Gold Kickstarter. Hey there, have you ever thought about maybe putting down a 2x2 mini and being like, that's my fucking guy, that's me, I'm a Minotaur, and not a bullshit medium Minotaur, a real big boy? Well, you can't. You can't be large full-time. There's actually some decent reasons. The first good reason, navigation. Okay, this is a bit of a weird one, but basically a lot of people say D&D adventures aren't designed for large creatures, which I do agree with, but also there are ladders, and they figured it out for centaurs, so I think this is probably the least troubling issue. The problem is when it works to their advantage, blocking hallways, and I can't think of a lot of things they could block, but I'm sure it's important. Plus, printed adventures have printed loot, so finding loot big enough for you, finding places to stay, that sort of stuff becomes more challenging. I honestly think, though, that would just create more cool situations, so I don't know if that's really a reason against. The big guy has to stay in the stables, or Mr. Big Sword has to wait outside till the adventuring crew can open the main gates for him so he can unleash hell with his AoEs! Basically, any AoE that uses the language within blank feet of a large character starts with a bigger footprint and then ripples outward, having a larger area. I'm not a good abstract thinker, but I think it's bad. This exact same problem also increases the number of squares that you can reach with melee as a large character, because within 5 feet is 12 5-foot squares instead of 8. Speaking of melee, weapons! Okay, this is both largely ignored except when talking about this one issue, and as far as I can tell, probably the biggest problem with a large PC. Granted, it's found in a section on creating monsters on page 278 of the DMG, so it feels like it wouldn't be relevant, but we'll get into that. Large monsters usually have larger weapons, and larger weapons generally multiply their damage dice by each size category they increase beyond medium. So, medium would be ×1, large would be ×2, huge would be ×3, etc. That's not much of a problem, right? That's monsters! Well, after that bit, they say something strange that doesn't appear to be about monsters so much as players or just creatures in general. Quote, a creature has disadvantage on attacks with a weapon sized for a larger attacker. Unquote. Fuck! This is where the problem suddenly exists. Up till now, we could, if we wanted, think that monsters did whatever damage made sense. Like in a video game, right? X monster does Y damage with whatever weapon the artist drew in their fucking hand, but no, it seems like the damage dice on weapon attacks come from the weapon, not the monster, and can be used by players. When you know this and you look at the monster manual, you will start to become very troubled. If you're playing a large creature, you can just pick up an Oni's 2d10 glaive and fuck up the bell curve. There's also what looks like an optional rule that the creature cannot use weapons sized for creatures 2 or more size categories larger than them. I recommend after any of your players watching this video that you use that rule. By the way, and maybe I'll do a whole episode on this, you should probably kill a big monster, take its weapon, get a large reduce, make someone big, and then give them that big ass weapon, or play a rune knight, whatever. That seems cool and thematic, but making a large creature huge and giving them a fucking storm giant's weapon seems like what WOTC design nightmares are made of. Also, grappling appears to be a bigger problem for people than I would anticipate. I don't know. If you think grappling's cool, then it's a problem. Speaking of things that are cool, home brewing. The WOTC design team has to be super careful about what they officially release, because people like me are assholes. But we, on the other hand, can homebrew whatever shit we want and then tweak it as we go. So DMs, go out there, and I don't know how to make it cool, but just make it sort of balanced and give it to the players, and then give the other players some wicked magic items and crank your CR. You know, I don't know. Fucking, you go out, do it. Fool's Gold Into the Bellowing Wilds is a new adventure with background spells, heaps of monsters, minis, and more, put together by Dingo Doodles and Hit Point Press. The Kickstarter launches on October 12th. Check it out. Links in the description. Oh, also I maybe made an item for it. We'll see. Thanks for watching. Okay, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.